Whoa! Everything's completely destroyed! Awesome! Let's go! Fallout 4 was one of the first games in a really long time that I got really excited about playing. When it finally came out, the game came as advertised and was addicting as hell. Fallout 4 is a straight up awesome game. Yes, it does have its significant problems, and we'll talk about all the problems and all the great things about this game in this review. You start off with your character, with his husband or wife, looking in front of the mirror. This is where you get to create your character and edit how they look for the rest of the game. The character customization is pretty good. You do have the freedom to create all sorts of various looks for your character, but one thing that's frustrating is it's so difficult. Bethesda's character models are kind of ugly, and it's really hard to get the exact character you want to look.
Looking good, if I do say so myself.
This short look into what happens before the war is really unique and sets up all the emotion that builds for the rest of the game. What I would have liked to see is more time spent in this scenario, though, really building up more of the tension, because I felt like they did a great job, but we really would have liked to see more.
We do have coming in. That's confirmed reports, I repeat, confirmed reports of nuclear detonations in New York and Pennsylvania. My God.
Once you go through the opening, prologue sequence, you'll be thrust into the wasteland, the destructed world of what was Boston, Massachusetts. You are free to explore this vast open world and go and do pretty much whatever you want. This is one of the best parts of all Bethesda's RPGs. The amount of player freedom that you have to just run off and explore and find things to do is really present in this game, and just really brings you right in and immerses you in this amazing world.
Oh, I'm going in naked. Fingers crossed I get superpowers.
The main plot point in this game is that your character is trying to find his or her son, which has been kidnapped from you while you were in the vault, and you're determined to find them in this wasteland. Early in the game, the emotion and determination of your character is done really well. In your dialogue options, it seems that your character is a parent and only invested in finding his or her son. But as the game progresses and you get into all the other different story arcs with the 4 main factions that are in the game, and you kind of learn what this world is all about, that story arc kind of takes a little bit of a back seat, and it feels like you kind of forget what you were supposed to be doing. Having said that, though, the story is very interesting, and the way that all these factions and the citizens of the wasteland interact with each other, and how this whole story comes together is very interesting, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Just friends, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess. But I thought so, unless something changes. God, did it get hot in here?
The combat has shifted a bit since Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas to more of a first-person shooter style mechanics. This change makes it feel like a competent shooter. You can walk around and use your weapons and look down the crosshairs to gun down enemies in real time. The other feature that's there to assist you if you need it is VATS, the Vault Tech Assisted Targeting System. This allows you to slow down time, not stop it like in previous games, to target your enemies and take them out in whatever order you think is necessary. One of the knocks against the previous Fallout games was how much you really relied on VATS with certain player builds. And in this game, Fallout 4, it's not nearly as prevalent. You can go through the whole game without using VATS if you want to. You'll do just fine. For the fans of the VATS system, though, there are various perks and ways that you can, empower your VATS targeting, so that you can go through the game and use it as much as you want. Overall, I personally really like the shift in combat that I've seen from Fallout 3 and New Vegas to Fallout 4. It feels way more smooth and way less clunky than it had in previous games, and I appreciated it immensely. Running through with the RPG elements that come so naturally in this series, while adding on top the shooter-like mechanics, seems so right for this world and for this game. I really enjoyed it. Similar to the combat, the conversation mechanics have been shifted from previous titles. Instead of a long list of dialogue options that your character can choose from, there's only 4 options that your character can say. Now, your character is completely voice acted. Everything they say is read out by a voice actor, and the voice acting by the 2 main protagonists, the male and the female, are extremely well done. They do an awesome job of really making you feel the emotion that your character is supposed to be feeling. This was so important with the shift in conversation from the massive amount of selection that you used to be able to have. Now they've narrowed down the focus so that you can really feel the emotion of the character. It was a positive for me. What ends up hurting the conversation system, though, is the limited number of options of dialogue, things that you can say.
Oh my god. This can't be happening. This isn't happening.
Isn't happening? What are you talking about?
The conversation options seem so limited with only the 4 options, but what makes it worse is, in a lot of dialogue sequences, it doesn't matter what your character says, the other characters will say the same thing regardless. If you say a positive response, sometimes it won't matter what the other person says as if you said a negative response. It doesn't make a ton of sense. It gives you the illusion that you have a choice, but really the same thing is going to happen anyways. Along your journey, there are up to 13 companion characters that your character can have travel with them. They will help you out in combat, and they each have their own unique stories and backgrounds that you can hear if you get to know them well enough. In the world as well, you can trade with your companion, have them carry stuff for you, or command them to do certain things, and this is somewhat useful, but most of the time it ended up feeling like the AI with your companions was kind of dumb. Sometimes your companion will trigger traps on the ground that will end up killing you both, or silly things like that. As well, most of these companions I found weren't really that interesting. There were a few who I really wanted to get to know more, and I wanted to have travel with me more often, but most of the companions ended up being pretty boring, and I didn't really care about it at all. Their stories weren't really developed that well, and even when you did manage to hear their in-depth stories, I find myself not really caring about most of the companions.
Anyway, I feel fine, so let's get going.
As your character progresses through the wasteland, defeating enemies and finishing various quests, your character will level up. They've done away completely with the skill system from Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and instead opted for a more streamlined perk system. In the perk system, every time you level up, you get 1 perk point that you get to spend on a various amount of perks that will upgrade your character in a number of different ways. The perks that your character will have access to are determined by your special stats that you determine at the beginning of the game. This, combined with the weapon types that you choose, will primarily make up your character's build and playstyle. So it's important that you select the perks that really benefit your playstyle, or else you'll find yourself dying a lot. Fallout 4 is a great game, but believe me, it does not come without its minor problems and setbacks. In a game this big, there's bound to be, bugs and glitches that pop up here or there, but it seemed like in Fallout 4 that, every time I turned the corner, I found, a little bug or a little glitch that, kind of broke my immersion in the game a little bit.
You guys gonna be okay now?
Yeah, for a while anyway. We can at least move someplace. Listen, when we first met, you asked about the Minutemen?
In the conversation, sometimes your character will just stand there not saying anything for a while. So, do you think you can help us out? Yep, just keep thinking. Oh, are you gonna say something? No? No, okay, yeah. No, it's okay. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know anyway. No, that's okay. Take your time. As well, the loading screens after playing for a lot of hours began to get really annoying. Especially if you start out the game when you're inside a building, then you have to leave the building, loading screen, then you want to fast travel somewhere else, loading screen, then you want to go inside that building when you get there, loading screen, which can end up taking 5 minutes, 6 minutes to get anywhere you want to go, which is kind of a waste of time. I really would have liked to see, maybe them, hide these loading screens somewhere, or maybe find a better way to deal with this, because it really started to get on my nerves after a while. Bethesda has made an effort to make some upgrades on their previous installments by adding a couple of new features to their games that I personally hope are going to be staples in Fallout and hopefully Elder Scrolls games from now on. The scavenging features of Fallout 4 just make so much sense. In a destroyed world, you can go and everything you pick up, from desk fans to pencils, all sorts of stuff, is completely useful. You can break down these things to harvest their components and use them to build various things that can help you. As well, one of the main story arcs has you assembling settlements throughout the Commonwealth and attracting settlers to come to your settlements and live there. You can build houses and beds and furniture and all sorts of stuff to set up for these people so that they can live there. The creative aspects of this part of the game are almost unlimited. They've included, walls, floors, roofs, all sorts of things like that, so you can build, crazy settlements, with houses and bridges going across and turrets defending them and just all sorts of crazy stuff. I really look forward to seeing what some people can come up with in the settlement feature. As well, these scavenge components can help you build new weapons and armor for your character to use. Collect enough stuff and you can do piece-by-piece weapon customization, adding scopes and bases and handles and all sorts of stuff to your guns to make them more powerful. As well, one thing that I haven't mentioned yet that you have to take a look at is the power armor. There are a number of different ways to get power armor, and you can accumulate a couple different sets, and just like your weapons and armor, you can customize it fully, adding paint jobs or various features to it that power it up and use it to go on destructive rampages throughout the Commonwealth. One thing though is that you have to power your power suit with power cells that are found throughout the Commonwealth. These power cells are really rare and hard to come by. Through my first 20 to 25 hours of the game, I only found 2 power cells. Now, I wasn't really searching them out, but those are the only 2 that I just happened to come across. So resource management is a huge deal in this game. There are just so many things in this game that just give it so much life and make you feel like this world is alive and that you're living in it with all these other characters. There's a huge amount of enemy types, but within each enemy type there's different variations of that enemy. So even if you're seeing, a bunch of raiders, there'll be maybe 4 or 5 different types of raiders within that enemy type. As well, every now and then you'll run across a legendary enemy. These enemies are much stronger than normal enemies, and once defeated, you can pick up, one souped-up, powerful piece of armor or a weapon from them that will have a special ability added to it. As well, the world. The world is just so colorful and bright and unique, and there's so many things to find and discover in this world. They've changed up the colors from previous games that were kind of gray or dark and really gloomy. While this game still has those parts in it, they've upped the color to make it feel like this world's just way more alive and vibrant than previous games. This game is just too full to talk about all the great things that are in it, and I don't want to spoil anything either. I had so much fun with this game, even despite some of the problems that the game has. I found that they didn't take away at all from my enjoyment from the game. I was addicted to Fallout 4, and it was really tough to tear myself away from the game. Even with the problems and bugs and all sorts of stuff in the game, it's hard to say that a game I enjoyed so much isn't an amazing game. So for that reason, my final verdict for Fallout 4 is a 9 out of 10. It is an amazing game. Yes, there are some problems, but please, if you can overlook those, you will have an amazing experience in this game. Go and get it right now. It is well worth your money.
Welcome to the great green jewel of the Commonwealth. Safe, happy, a fine place to come. Spend your money.
Well, that's all I've got to say about Fallout 4. I want to thank you guys for watching. We'd love to hear what you have to say, how you felt about Fallout 4, or maybe some other games that you'd like us to review. I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.